Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop. Episode 16 of our drawer making workshop series. And this one we're actually going to put it together. So we're going to glue up all four corners, make sure it's nice and square. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm going to show you some things to watch for. Before we do that, I'm really scraping the barrel here on finding samples of drawers. But I wanted to show you something in particular on this to justify why I went through the trouble I did to repair those pins that I accidentally screwed up. This was a little drawer sample that we used to drag around to the wood show circuit to advertise our drawer making workshop that we used to teach. It's made out of mahogany, through wedge tenons on the bottom, very similar to the one I showed you the other day. Little skinny dovetails on top. Mitered edge, actually very similar. Mitered edge on the front corner so that you would not have a butt joint. Tiger maple or fiddleback maple on the front. Again, I used the forest. Walnut on the sides, aspen on the back, pine on the bottom. There weren't many species left. And it has survived remarkably well. I meant to tell you this the other day, that one of the reasons why I dressed up that little mahogany cabinet on the back, made it nice and neat with a mahogany back with the what looked like drawer separations in between, was it was designed that if it was to sit in the middle of the room, like the end of a coffee table, or the end of a couch, that it could be seen from all four sides. A lot of furniture, the back is designed to go against the wall and it's rather ugly, but why not dress it up? So this one sits in 3 grooves all the way on the 3 sides, little recess on the bottom, probably for the same reason that I did it on all 4. So it just carries the theme through. Fastened to the bottom shelf, so all of your movement in this case is going to go up into the groove or come out, and that's allowed for. Now, nothing in particular inside the case. It's just a nice, square, accurate box. I actually had to put I had to drill a hole in the bottom because there was a lot of, now it makes sounds like I'm showing off, but a lot of wind resistance when you would close it. What else do we have down here? Oh, I built this in 2006. I'm looking to see what these are. I guess what I was going to do, I was going to put, never got around to it. Remember those drawer stops I told you about? The round pieces up inside here where we would actually take a dowel. In this case, it looks like 3/4 inch, hollow it out, and then put a little recess in the top so we could put a 1/2 inch dowel or a 1/4 inch dowel up in the middle of it that we could then have drop down. So I may go in and do that now that I noticed that. This drawer, end lap, little on the thin side, based on how I like to do it today. I might have made that a 30-second more. I like the way the white comes up against the dark sides. It's always nice to show it off. These stick out proud again. Same setting here as it is here. Saves time, cuts down on mistakes. Little finger recess on the bottom. I do a lot of that. And just a little recess right there so that you can get your hands in. What I wanted to show you in this was the repair that I had to make. In fact, there's if you come in real close, you can see them. Even though I tried to match that up, it still stands out. And if somebody's looking and knows what they're looking at, they can see, oh, screwed up on a dovetail. So rather than have that on this end that we had to repair, I went in and I replaced that whole cap, or I capped that end, so that you wouldn't have something like that showing up at some point down the road. And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. All right, let's build this thing. I'll tell you what I have. So when it comes time to assembling your drawer, you got to have everything close by. The glue's drying. There's no mercy. It's going to dry up, and if you don't get it together in time, you're in trouble. So I'm using Type Bond 3. I like it. Gives a little more open time, not a ton, but a little. I prefer to put glue on with a little spatula like this. It's an artist's palette knife. And the reason is it allows you to get in spaces without getting it all over. That's why I don't like using a brush. I usually put it together with a steel hammer, and occasionally I use a rubber mallet, which I'm actually going to go over here and grab because sometimes that comes in handy as well. Especially when you're assembling a dovetail where the side is going to remain proud of the pin. Otherwise, you need to have And in fact, I usually really don't need this time, but I had it there. And this is just a pounding block. It's a piece of Osage orange. It's good and rugged, so I can tap on that instead of tapping right on the drawer side itself. Okay, so here's how it's going together. Double check that. Top right, top left, front, and back. So we've got to assemble a corner up here, and then put a corner in there. And then the last stage is to put these two together, and they have to go together at essentially the same time. So you got to make sure you got everything fitting properly. I'm going to use my square to line these up. I think what I'll do with the first one is, I'm going to put together the one that we repaired. No particular reason why. Actually, just a second now. Maybe I won't. I'm not going to do that because those two stick up higher. Is that going to cause me a problem when I go to put this together? When I'm putting the last one together, it's going to be sitting like this, and I'm going to be pounding down on top. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that one last. So we'll start off by putting this front right corner together first. I want a little extra light. I went through and checked everything. So take it right out of here so we can hopefully keep everything in line. Inside corners are chamfered, front and back. Okay, let's go. Now we always glue all of the mating surfaces. That means we glue the pins on the long grain surfaces. Now just to tell you, this is long grain, this is long grain. Now, even though this is long grain, it's got end grain touching it, so we don't bother putting any here. So glue here, 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 here. And then on this piece, we will glue here, 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 here. Now, I always put a little on these outside half pins just for fun.
So,
no other...
if you put it on those outside half pins,
yeah,
isn't that the same as putting it on the end lap?
Yeah, it is. Only if you could put anything extra in here, sometimes you end up... it gets in the way. The glue's got to move in order for it to close. So you don't want to put a ton on, but you want to butter it. You want to have a close look right there. Cover it. Make sure you have glue on all of the surface. The glue's not going to spread itself. And this is why I like this palette knife. I can go in there and very neatly get it everywhere. Now I'll turn this inside facing up. I love this little tiny glue bottle. We got them at a wood show, and it's just the right size for a job like this. I used to just put a puddle of glue on a piece of wood. This is easier. Okay, so when you put it together, you want to start it by hand first. Just in case you line it up by hand first, then you don't end up accidentally whacking on it when it isn't lined up. Yeah, I do. I already see something I do not like. Now, I put my headgear on. What is going on here? How can that be? How can that be? We use the same marking gauge. These are tight. These are tight, and yet I have a gap out here on the front. Don't know what's going on there. All right, let me just double check this. Okay, that says square. Now, Jake, I have no pride, so if you want to hone in on that, see what's going on. Now, before I go any further, I got to make provisions for fixing that. So I'm going to get a shim in here. And I'm not measuring it. I just want to go in there and get the glue out of the way. Have no idea how this happened. The fact that we're tight here, 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 and here means that how could this be longer? The most common reason for this is the back wall didn't get cleaned out properly and it slopes forward. You put the joint together and it spreads. But in order for that to happen, you have to have a gap showing here. And we don't have a gap showing there. Now let me just try something. And no, I did not do this intentionally in order to give you a lesson.
Well, do you remember how when you were laying these out, it didn't look like it was quite lining up?
Now if we squeeze on that.
You should put a block across.
Yeah, I got to, because I don't want it to pull just in one spot. What have I got? Can you hold that back there? Just keep that. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to see what'll happen. No, you got to hold that. It's got to go up higher still. Now that does pull tight, which
But there's no glue in it.
is even stranger. No, but there's glue on the side. So now what I got to do is come in here and pull those pins in. So what I'll use, where are my small clamps? Son of a gun. These are my favorite. These are Bessie Tradesman. They don't make this one anymore. And
Here, move this one.
I wish they did. So what I'm going to do is come in here. So this is proud to the side, and the bottom is slightly too. So I'm going to come in here, put this on. Actually, I think I'll do it this way. And pull that tight. I'm going to come out here. And that'll pull those pins in, and hopefully that clamping pressure will hold whatever we gained out here, which I really don't understand how we could possibly have done that, but it did. All right, now I can't do it anymore.
A 2-inch.
Can I get? Well, this isn't going to be very accurate over all that length, but you know, it was on when it hasn't bowed it. Frustrating. Okay, I'm going to let this set up. We'll give it 20 minutes, and then we'll turn the camera back on and see how we did. Meanwhile, And before we get any further, I'll check that other one. I'll double check that other one to make sure that we don't have the problem that I just mentioned. All right, see you back here in 20 minutes. Okay, this has been 25 minutes. I think what I'll do, I'm going to leave this one on, and I'm a little bit rushed. That just came back. I'm a little bit rushed only because we're filming this. Otherwise, I would have left that on all night. And I didn't gain anything, by the way. Son of a gun. But we don't have anything in there, so I can come in there and make a repair. In fact, I'm tempted to do it right now. That really bothers me. I have no idea why that happened. Now, let's put it together. I'll repair it after. I'd repair it right now if there was wet glue in there, but I just cleaned it all out, so let's check and make sure that this is still okay. That's still good. Okay, now that's actually deep enough. I can do that. Make sure we get the right one. That's the top. This is the top corner. Okay, same idea. Now that there's only a little bit of contact out here, so I'll just glue this piece. It's just contact is half a tail, so I didn't want to get all over that. Okay, same thing. Start it by hand to make sure everything is lined up. Now, I want to check and make sure it's closed at the baseline, which it is. Check it for square. Whoops, shoot. Pulled that too hard. All right, we'll set it here and do it. Okay. Again, check that at the baseline to make sure. Now I'm going to set this so I don't have glue on my bench. Okay, so we got to put two together at once. So that's a lot of gluing surfaces. Shoot. Remember, I was going to check that. So here's what I'm going to check. I'm going to check this distance from the ends of the tails right to that baseline. And then come over here. Wow, how did I get a gap there? How did that happen? That was an error in the marking gauge setting. Not that I didn't do it, but I have no idea how that happened. I'm going to have to go through and repair all those. How did that happen, Jake? You know, the good news is I can go back and look. I wonder if I used a different gauge without realizing I'd picked up a second one. That would kill my advice on having 2 gauges. This is one of those places where a little extra open time is advantageous. One more. Okay. Before we get too down. Okay, so here's the part that's disappointing. It's not off by much, but you see how I'm having to pull that over? That should have been lined up perfectly. And I think, I was actually thinking about this the other night when I was trying to get to sleep. We referenced now here's where you want a rubber mallet. These are higher, but they'll go up into the rubber mallet and that'll still put pressure on these tails. We referenced off of the top, didn't we? And one is a little bit lower than the other, just because of the opening. And that's what I got thinking about that, and I said, shoot, that's going to throw us off. And it did. Okay, now, double check this, make sure that is not quite seated. Now it is. Okay. Check it for square. I'll go from inside to outside. That measures 22 and or 21 and a strong 7/8. And that measures just barely 7/8. So give this a little nudge. Still strong 21 and 7/8. Just barely 20, actually just slightly under 21 7/8. And we went a little too far. (21 7/8). That should be it. 21 7/8. Okay. Now I'm going to take this over to a flat surface. See what that did? That's a killer. Oh. Well, I knew that was going to happen because we had to. If you have to twist in order to get that to line up, you've lost your fit. I'm going to see if I can identify it with the winding sticks, and if I can, then I can maybe get a little bit of it, take a little bit of it out. So what these do is exaggerate any wind or twist, and then you can, oh shoot, can't use that one, I broke the tip. Our new ones are made out of torrefied maple and holly, so they never move. Oh boy. Okay, so this corner's high. This one is high. So if we go in and put a little bit of pressure, I don't think we're going to gain anywhere near what we need. Check and make sure we kept it 21 7/8. Now notice I'm sitting it on the drawer sides, not on the drawer front, because that's high and not quite as high over there. If we gained anything, it was minimal. Oh boy. I'm severely disappointed in that. That's going to take away from the fit. Nothing I can do really. This is not much of a repair. Can't start over. I'm not gaining anything. All right, so all I'm going to do now is just salvage what I have. I'll go in here and put a clamp down on here just to make sure that those are tight. Now, which one did we do first?
That one.
This one? Okay. I just want to make sure that we got all the glue out of this. How are we for time?
20.
All right, I'm going to call it quits on this, only because I don't want to mess around with this until the glue dries. So what we will do tomorrow, instead of working on the bottom, we'll fix these. We'll fix these and then we'll plane it all up, and these I guarantee you won't be able to see. But that fit. Ugh. All right, if you have any questions, put them in the, ask them. We go through and try to read all of them, and if there's some that need to be answered online when we film, I'll certainly do that. Notice that somebody had a really nasty comment. Jake pinned it so you can all see it.
On episode 13.
On episode 13. Comment about that we talk too much about the Purple Heart Project. Well, too bad. You don't like it, don't watch. But you want to make comments like that, I hope you get what you deserve. Anyway, for the rest of you, I'm glad you're here. Hope you enjoyed this. Things don't always go the way we want. I got all night to sleep on this and see if I can't come up with a solution. But I've faced this before, and I don't know what can be done. Anyway, we'll address it tomorrow. See you. How in the name of... just a disaster from one end to the other.